Welcome to another edition of Our City. On Thursday, Thanksgiving, I hope all of you enjoy the holiday, spending time with your family and friends. Don't eat too much and enjoy the season. On behalf of my wife Nancy and our daughter Jacqueline, a very happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On Tuesday, November 26th at 6 o'clock in the evening, the Elizabeth Avenue Partnership's annual meeting and award ceremony will be held at the Peterstown Community Center. The Elizabeth Avenue Partnership is a group of businesses on Elizabeth Avenue that tax themselves extra money in order to make sure there's holiday decorations, additional police patrols, as well as marketing of the Elizabeth Avenue shopping district. On Wednesday of this week in the morning at 10 o'clock, I'm going to be at the Square Medical Center Arts and Craft exhibition at the Elizabeth Public Library. It is being billed as a Town Square Medical Center Arts and Craft exhibition. So if you want to join us for some arts and crafts at the library on Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning, please do. On Thursday, November 28th, which is Thanksgiving, and Friday, November 29th, City Hall will be closed in observance of the holiday. And I'd like to once again wish everybody a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. Friday, November 29th is traditionally known as Black Friday, the busiest shopping days of the holiday season, and we'd like to encourage everyone in Elizabeth to take advantage of the many discounts throughout the city of Elizabeth's shops and restaurants. Whether you're on Broad Street, Elizabeth Avenue, Morris Avenue, or Jersey Gardens, the outlet collection, please enjoy your shopping in the city of Elizabeth. On Saturday, November 20th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to join the St. Genevieve's Boy Scout Troop 23 at their Court of Honor. This ceremony will be held in the church hall at St. Genevieve's Church, and Eagle Scout awards will be made as well. Congratulations to Scout Troop 23 and all of the fine work that they did. On Sunday, December 1st, the Knights of Columbus Council of Elizabeth will have their opening dedication program for their annual nativity scene displayed near City Hall. And that event, also that day at 4 o'clock, a thank you worship at the Santa Isabel Lutheran Church located at 908 East Jersey Street. And also December 1st is World AIDS Day, and there'll be a proclamation presentation at the Presbyterian Church located next to the courthouse at 7 o'clock in the evening at their services for World AIDS Day recognition here in our city. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 820-4124. And as you know, in November and December is flu season, and the city of Elizabeth is always prepared with vaccinations and getting out the flu, and I'm pleased to be joined by the supervisor of the public nursing staff here in the city of Elizabeth, Miss Eileen Kelly. Eileen, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You ready for Thanksgiving?
A little bit. Have to cook a little, help my mother out. So we bring some food over, the children. So she doesn't cook anymore.
So you travel?
Yes. I do.
You don't do it at home, you travel?
I do some of it at home and I bring it, Thursday morning for her. So.
Okay. Long commute?
Just to Staten Island.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yes, and my father's in a nursing home, so he comes home for the day, and,
That's good.
as they get older, you want to help them out. So my sister's doing the turkey, the stuffing, the gravy. I got some vegetables, and my brother's doing something else.
So you got all whacked up pretty good.
Yes, yeah.
Good. Well, I hope you enjoy the Thanksgiving, you and your family.
I don't know, my sweet potatoes, I'm not sure how they're going to turn out, but that's what I'm cooking.
So before the show, we were talking about your son. Your son ran for city council.
Yes, he did.
And he won in Roselle Park.
Yes, he did. He did.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I don't know how you do it as mayor, because this was, the first time he was running. A lot of paperwork, just getting the word out, a lot of foot traffic, every minute he had free. He works, full time, then he goes to school and would be out handing flyers out or like knocking on doors, like on weekends, every availability that he could get. And we all went around with him too, so it was a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Yes.
A different role than being the nurse.
Yes, my house was the phone command central for the day of the election, and that was very harried experience, but I had some people that have done it before, so they were helping me out.
Good for you.
Good, yeah.
Okay, the best time is between now and when he gets sworn in. When he gets sworn in
That'll
January.
be January. Yeah. So.
Good, congratulations. So, Eileen, you're the public health nurse. Tell us a little about your role as not only a public health nurse, but also as a supervisor in Elizabeth.
Well, I first started out as a public health nurse, and then I became a supervisor, I guess, about 9 years ago. And I supervise about 8 to 10 nurses. We have some part-time, but mostly full-time nurses in the office. And we have some, various activities and jobs, that we do. So our base is in the office, but they're out in the field a lot, either home visits or like the schools or clinics.
Tell us what they do in the schools. I mean, they get assigned. They're not there all the time, but they are in the schools, right?
Yeah,
not the public schools.
No, we have a contract to do the non-public schools in the city of Elizabeth. So we do the whatever nursing services the school needs. That includes like screenings. We have to do the charting of their records, like for their physicals and screenings such as height, weight, blood pressure, scoliosis, a lot of health education that goes on, and pretty much give out medications. The medications that are given out in the schools are supposed to be only for allergies or life-threatening diseases. Otherwise, everything would be given out in the school. I mean, it's kind of hard to gauge. So, the nurses are there.
We also run STD clinics and other things, correct?
Yes, we do. That's a big clinic. We do STD screening and treatment for all Union County residents, except Plainfield, because Plainfield has their own program with the City of Plainfield and the Plainfield Health Center. So they don't come down to our clinic. They basically have the same thing over in Plainfield. We do see some high school students, so when they show their ID, it's all confidential. So all we need to see is like their school ID. Obviously, they wouldn't have a driver's license sometimes. So, and then I have an STD.
So we see some high school for STD problems.
Right. Not that they have, that they might be scared that they do, so they, hear about the clinic and, that they call, and it's a walk-in clinic. So, it's strictly confidential, and we get the results. They all, get blood work done. They get an interview and a screening process, and, get treatment if it's needed on the spot, or they call for their results like in about a week when we get it back from the state, because all of our specimens go down to the state lab.
So the state keeps track of all this, right? And then if there's multiple partners, they inform the different cities.
Well, they don't know that they have multiple partners. We know. They will get the result and send it to us. So if there's, a positive STD, Rich Cologne, the STD investigator, may get a call from somebody at the state or from Patterson that it's an Elizabeth resident, that there's a contact or somebody was named as a contact. Sometimes in our interview, we don't find out the name of the contact until, we call them with the positive result. If they don't come in for treatment, Rich has to go out and get them. Sometimes he does appear on their job site, because
that could be a lot of fun, huh?
Well, there is a statute that he gives them a few times to come, phone calls, he goes to their door. Sometimes he's there 7:30 in the morning at their house, getting them before they may go to work. But there is a statute where they, could get jail time if they were named and they don't come in for, treatment. So
flu program. Mm-hmm. We give out flu shots.
Yes, we do.
Do we have to by law, or we just do it? What's the?
Well, as a public health department, it's probably public health priority. I don't know if there's any funding there, for that. The City of Elizabeth purchased the flu vaccine. We put our order in usually around March of the year before. By then they know what strains that they're going to work with, because every year it's different, what they're going to incorporate into the flu vaccine. So
how do they make that decision, Eileen? Do you know?
The city or the drug company?
The drug companies.
Somehow they have experts that are working on it all year round, because if you recall the year that the H1N1 came out, they had to stop production on the regular influenza vaccine to produce the H1N1. So that was really a crazy year. So you had to get 2 vaccines that year. Now it's all the H1N1, and I think it's H2, H3 or something, and other strains are in there. So that's how they produce. It's those scientists that whoever makes the vaccine, they realize what they can predict what strain is going to be.
So I when I got my flu shot, and I said to you, my daughter got a 4-strain thing,
Right.
and you said I was getting a 3-strain thing.
Right.
Maybe you can explain to our viewers the different types of flu shots that exist out there.
Well, there's many, but when we order it, sometimes we're only allowed certain types to order at that time. There's a trivalent vaccine, which covers 3 virus strains, and there's a quadrivalent. So at the time, they only had the pediatric quadrivalent out, which I have. Like for the pediatric children, ages 3 and over, I have the quadrivalent for them. But for, I guess, Sanofi, when, what we purchased from them was the trivalent, which is, basically your basic flu vaccine. Either one, is good, but...
The flu vaccine is a dead virus or an alive virus?
It can be both, but we use the inactivated flu vaccine. Some of the doctor's offices will use the live vaccine. You have to be healthy. You have to be between 2 and 49 years of age. There's a lot of stipulations. When I'm doing a large program, it's a little difficult to sit down and ask everybody when you have a couple hundred people waiting online for the vaccine. So it's kind of hard to screen them there. Are you in the household with somebody that's immune suppressed? Are you this age? Are you healthy? They have to be healthy. So it's just,
But if they're in a household with somebody who has some immunization issues, then they shouldn't
get the live vaccine. No.
And what's the difference with the mist? I mean, some young people get the mist.
That's the live vaccine. A lot of pediatricians give that in their offices, I guess because they're healthy children,
Or in my daughter's case, didn't want a needle.
And that's the other thing, yes. If they're getting other vaccines at the same time, or they're just afraid, so
Well, she got a flu shot for the first time. She used to get the mist. Now she got the shot.
Oh,
this year.
okay.
And she wouldn't let me in the room with her.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
They must
they're
be
like that
growing
when
up.
they get older.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want you there.
So what's the next day residents can get flu shots in our city?
Well, we had about 5 programs in October, about 2 in November, and I still have vaccine left, so we're having another one in December, December 18th, and it's for Elizabeth residents only. We asked CID, and it's from 3:30 to 5 at the Peterstown Community Center. We also had a separate pediatric program after hours last week. I believe it was November 19th. We advertised at the schools for the school nurses and the daycares.
But if adults bring children with them, can they both get it at the same time?
For this one, I wouldn't have it. We refer them to the next day for our clinic. They generally don't bring their little kids, or they've had it already. But usually when it's the big program like this, we just do the adults. If they're 15, 14, yeah, we would do it when they bring the little ones. It's a different vaccine too, because we give them the preservative free.
Are we giving them at the schools where we send public health nurses?
No, we do them at our clinics. Most of the clinics are at Peterstown or School 1, that clinic. And when the residents are calling, we find out where they live, which is the best locale, to get the to come to the program. And this is about the 3rd year that I've done a pediatric program for the school kids. So a lot of them came, the 3 and 4-year-olds, because it is a preschool requirement. And that's not a city, that's a state, New Jersey. The state of New Jersey requires every preschooler attending school in New Jersey to have a flu shot. So between September 1st and December 31st, all preschoolers have to have at least 1 dose of the flu vaccine. So what's going to happen...
Either by shot or by mist?
Either one. Either one. What will happen in January when they come back from winter break, they will try to enter the school and then they're excluded. But, if anybody's listening, they were notified a lot of times, the school nurses in the public schools and ours work very hard notifying the parents, you need to get this, get it now while it's available, because sometimes in January the doctors won't have it or we won't have it, and then you can't order that fast. The state only supplies me with the pediatric vaccine as I use it, so that I can't have an overabundance. Even if I say to them I'm having a big program. So right now we have plenty of vaccine,
We're going to take a break, run some commercials, and come back and talk more. Okay. Please stay with us with Eileen Kelly talking more about the flu vaccine and immunization here in the city of Elizabeth. Welcome back to our city, where I'm joined by Miss Eileen Kelly, the supervisor of the Elizabeth Public Health Nursing. Eileen, we were talking at the break. How many shots have you given out?
We've given out about 800 flu shots so far in the city.
And that's adults and?
No, that's all adults.
All
the
adults.
Children have a different vaccine that I get from the state, so those numbers are somewhere in my computer. But we've probably done about 200 children, and like I said, when January hits, we were bombarded last year.
So who should get vaccinated? I mean, anybody listening here, who should actually get vaccinated?
Well, since about February of 2010, the CDC has recommended everybody get the flu shot 6 months and older. So under 6 months, there is no flu vaccine that's recommended, or they don't have it for that age group. So anybody that's in school, in the preschool, even especially
anybody in school is mandated to get it.
Well, the preschoolers are. The preschoolers are. It's good for everybody to get, because that's the best way to prevent the flu is, to get the vaccine. It's easily preventable. It's not 100%. No vaccine is 100% preventable, but it's an added step to not having the flu.
I had the vaccine last year, and I think I got the flu. I mean, at least that's what the doctor said. I had 104 fever. I was kind of joint pain for a couple of days.
Well, for that, I would say somebody that you could have come in contact with. You do see a lot of people.
I do.
And maybe a couple days before they came out with any symptoms of the flu or a cold, they gave it to you, then you got the shot, and so that person was already contagious.
Oh, I had the shot months before that.
Oh, okay. So, well, like I said, it's not 100%, so you still could get it, but hopefully it was a milder case.
Doctors say that it would not be as strong if you had the flu shot, right?
Right. It would, be a milder case, but usually, and not everybody gets a fever with the flu, but they usually do. And the difference between like the flu and the cold is it's usually a sudden onset of fever, body aches. I mean, you're hit like a ton of bricks when you're sick with the flu. You're laid up in bed. A cold, you can kind of tell for a couple of days. Maybe you're getting sick with a cold, or colds don't really turn into a flu. So
the flu could be deadly too if people ignore it. Correct?
Yes, I don't remember the year, but there was a big influenza epidemic that happened. Maybe it was 1900s, or that killed a lot of people. So anybody, especially with heart disease, lung disease, asthma, diabetes, anything like that, any immune compromise, any weakened immune system, they should, protect themselves and get the flu shot.
So Eileen, I asked you who should get the shot. Is there anybody besides babies less than 6 months? Is there anybody else who should not get a flu shot?
You should not get a flu shot if you've had a documented severe allergic, like anaphylactic reaction at some point getting the flu shot. Whether it was a component of the vaccine, there's a very minute amount of eggs that they produce the vaccine with. So sometimes people will sign up and they'll say, well, I think I'm allergic to eggs. But when you question them a little further, it wasn't a severe anaphylactic reaction. They eat eggs they do eat eggs. They eat eggs in cake, and they don't have any, anaphylactic reaction. So, if you think you are, then the best advice is to just double check with your doctor. If you're not really carrying around an EpiPen for an allergy to eggs, you should be able to get the vaccine.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I mean, you ask people if they're allergic to eggs and they don't eat eggs, but if they eat a lot of cake, there's a lot of eggs in cake.
Right, cakes, cookies, there's batter like that. So only if you've really come out with some very bad reaction and hives and you can't breathe, or it took you to the hospital, I mean, that's a severe reaction. You really wouldn't get the flu vaccine.
So tell our viewers, how do we prevent this? I mean, washing hands is probably the biggest, but what other ways?
That's the first. The first is wash your hands. I mean, that the skin is the first defense against anything that's going to be coming into your body. When you're coughing and you're sneezing, your respiratory droplets are flying across to somebody who's 6 feet away in the same room, that they could contract that. Usually,
so they always teach the kids to.
They go like this, and when you do cough and sneeze, blow your nose, you should really wash your hands. And usually, we tell the children to 2 verses of "Happy Birthday," the song "Happy Birthday." And I think there's another song that
they should wash their hands that long.
Yes, not many of us do, and it's plain soap and water. So every time you think of it, you should wash your hands. Before and after handling food, going to the bathroom, coughing, sneezing, anything like that.
So the symptoms of the flu, you just said not everybody gets a fever, but they'll get joint pain. Is that the biggest?
Usually you can have it would be similar, like a cough, runny nose, or stuffy nose, sore throat, body. Usually the body aches is the one that would really signify that it's the flu. If you're really very curious whether it's a flu or a cold, your doctor can do a test and send it to the lab to find out if you have influenza. We do get reports on that, like from the lab, but generally if you stay in bed and take care of it and you don't come to work, you stay away from people that are sick, it is hard to do.
Can you get a flu shot after the flu? Or does that make any sense, or that's just not recommended?
Well, if the person had a documentation of, say, from the lab that they definitely had the flu, there really wouldn't be any use getting the flu shot. But, I've never really had that.
Because you'd be immune after, or you...
Well, I guess you could. I mean, I guess if you ask your doctor, if he doesn't know what strain it is, he would say go get the shot anyway. Right. I mean, we generally, you can give the vaccine as early as September and as late as like March. But generally the season is October through May. Right now, the flu season is not really upon us. We're still a couple weeks away from where you're really gonna, feel it. There's not a lot of people with documentation of flu right now.
So my staff did this. What is Pneumovax, and are the public health nurses involved in it? So I don't know what Pneumovax is, but sounds interesting.
Well, one of the things that we just started in May, we have a free adult vaccine program. And we were gearing it to senior citizens, especially the ones that we see at the centers. A big popular one is the shingles vaccine, because sometimes that's not covered by your insurance, or the doctor makes you get it and he'll give it, but you still have to pay for it. So if you're screened and you don't have the insurance that covers it, or your insurance doesn't just cover that particular vaccine, that we have Pneumovax. We have a list of vaccines. We do the measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, meningitis, the pneumonia shot, which is a Pneumovax. We do Tdap, which is the tetanus with the pertussis in it. And the shingles is very popular, as is the pneumonia shot.
So before we close, the meningitis, since you mentioned it, that's going on in Princeton, that's a different strain from the normal shot, but also the only way you can get it supposedly is by sharing of saliva or something closer, this strain?
Well, usually meningitis, that's how it's transmitted. That's why they made it mandatory when you're living in the dorms. Now it's recommended even if you're commuting to campuses to get it. But the strain that they have is not covered by the vaccines that all these students were getting. But regular, meningitis, any strain, it's by sharing utensils, drinking out of the same cup, and that's why Princeton had that big public relations thing to not to share the cup. They were given at red cups.
They're also importing the virus from Europe. vaccination.
Right. A lot of our vaccines were approved over there before they're
they
sent here. Yeah, so I would go with that.
Okay. Eileen, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show.
Thank you.
And I would like to wish you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, same to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
For Miss Eileen Kelly at the Public Health Nurses, I'm Chris Bolwage, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.